Welcome back here at the main stage where we'll be listening to a keynote of Maaike Bergsma. If people want to join, please come to the main stage. We're starting with a keynote of Maaike Bergsma. With years of international experience as a lecturer and a researcher in tourism, she understands the industry from the inside out, across cultures, destinations, and power dynamics. What makes her voice especially interesting today and relevant is that she also works on the inner dimension of travel. As a holistic coach, she guides people through reflection, awareness, and transformation, helping them recognize the patterns and narratives that they carry with them, but which are no longer relevant for them. And this unique combination of academic expertise and inner work makes her the right person to invite us for a deeper dive and a deeper conversation today. Because tourism is not only where we are going, but also who we are when we are going there. Her keynote is titled Unpacking the Past, Shaping the Future, from Tourism Consumption to Human Connection. Because real sustainable tourism is more than looking at reducing emission or eco-friendly tourism options. It's also with how we as people, as consumers, but also as tourism professionals relate to the inhabitants of the destinations that we travel to and how we relate to our planet. So I'd like you to give a warm round of applause for Maaike. Dank je.
Okay, thank you for being here today. I would like to invite you to a warmer place than the Netherlands today. And I'm going to take you to Zanzibar. The school was located on the beach. A powder white beach and a turquoise ocean. And those tiny sailing boats dotted on the horizon, the Swahili dhows. And Jerry was one of the students in the diploma program that I was teaching for. And he also worked in the nearby restaurant in the hotel. And every day after work, my American colleague and I, we would go to the hotel and we would chat with Jerry and we would indulge ourselves in the freshest mango juice and fish platters. And everything was so affordable. And in the weekend, we would go to another hotel and dip in the swimming pool. And I would take pictures and send them to my Dutch colleagues, feeling so sorry that they had to stay in the Netherlands during the long, cold winter. I was just living my best life. I mean, working as a tourism lecturer on a tropical island, combining best of both worlds. And at the same time, doing something really good for the students in Zanzibar. But looking back, I must say, I was pretty naive back then. Because after I heard more stories about Jerry's life, my perspective started to change. And the mango juice that was once so sweet started to taste bitter. Jerry told me stories about his life, about his wife and his kids who he had to leave behind on the mainland. He told me about his long working days after he had already spent a whole day at school. And he also explained to me about his low wage and his fear of losing his job when he would get ill. And slowly, I started to see that my trip to Zanzibar was based on an unequal distribution of resources. That my mango juice and my dip in the swimming pool, my whole expat life on Zanzibar, on this tropical island, it was echoing our colonial past. Like I wanted to make a positive contribution to my students in Zanzibar, travelers also want to make a positive contribution to the places they visit. We want to do good, and there's research that confirms it. The 2025 Booking.com research shows that there is an increased awareness among travelers about the impact that tourism has on the destinations, on the people, on the environment. We want to leave a place better than we found it. And we would love to participate in the daily life of the inhabitants of the destination. Because in our fast-paced world, we long for deep human connection. We want connection rather than consumption. Because connection creates happiness. Also when we travel. And there's plenty of offers nowadays that cater for those needs. I mean, you can stay in a locally owned guest house, you can participate in a traditional cooking workshop or help the community harvest their crops. But just participating in those locally led initiatives is not enough. No. Because connection comes from within. Connection asks us to pause, to turn inward, and to reflect on ourselves. Because unconsciously, we carry colonial stories inside us that influence the way we move through this world. But if we become aware of these patterns, we can travel with greater intention and can create encounters that enrich both hosts and guests and make tourism a true force for good. So how does this work? And in order to explain that, I would like to take you into my childhood. My mother always had to clean the house on Saturdays. Because you never knew who was going to visit us on Sunday. So the house had to be perfectly clean. And my brother and I had to help out. It wasn't much fun because my mom would get really stressed. But yeah, this was just how things were done. No one questioned the practice. And now I would like to ask you, think about your family, your parents, your grandparents. What did they teach you? Which ideas or beliefs did you inherit from them? ideas about what is right or wrong, how you should behave, or maybe how you're supposed to celebrate Christmas. And what do you do differently in your life now? Ideas, beliefs, or traditions, they continue in a family until someone in the lineage starts to question them. And the same applies on a collective level. Let's look for some evidence. Over the past 400 years, we have inherited collective ideas about who we are in this world. It is what Gloria Becker calls our cultural archive. It is the collective data bank of a society, and it stores unconscious beliefs, emotions, thoughts, and narratives about who we are in this world, about race, about power, and the other. And it still influences our behavior today. And this deeply matters in tourism, because with this cultural archive in our backpack, we travel the world. It influences the way we interact with the inhabitants of a destination. Do we see them as equals? It influences the way we distribute power and resources. Is it just for us? And it even influences the way we take holiday pictures and tell travel stories. So it's not enough to just be culturally competent, to know some languages or some facts about other cultures. No. This is where cultural humility becomes important. Cultural humility asks us to understand our own cultural identity and our history, and the way it influences how we interact with others. So if we want to create this deep human connection that we are so much longing for, we have to understand the colonial stories that we still carry inside. Because only then we can create the encounters that are beneficial for both hosts and guests, and we can make tourism a force for good. So in order to explain this and to break these narratives down, I would like to give you some examples. And to understand some of those colonial narratives that we still carry inside, I would like to invite you to the birthday party of my uncle René. Please, you're invited. Uncle René is a fit senior. He loves to travel the world. And today is his 70th birthday. Everyone is there, my mom, my brother, my nieces and nephews. And it's this typical Dutch birthday party. I mean, everyone is sitting in a circle and we're telling stories. And my Aunt Carla is serving the typical Dutch snacks like bitterballen and cheese. And then my uncle starts to tell about their latest trip to Thailand. They drive on the wrong side of the road, he says. And there's so much litter on the street. And they hardly speak any English over there. It's difficult to communicate with them. And now I would like to ask you, please think about your past travels, especially when you were younger. Have you ever found yourself making judgmental comments about another country or culture? We like to believe that travel increases cultural understanding, but does it really? Or does it perpetuate stereotypes of Western superiority? And then my uncle continues his story about Thailand. Oh, the weather was so good, he says. Oh, I'm happy we escaped the Dutch winter. And you know the best thing? Everything was so cheap over there. You know, a beer, just €1.50. And this seems an innocent story, right? But we implicitly say that the world is ours to explore at a bargain. We don't really ask ourselves what the impact of our stay is to the local people or the environment. No, because we feel entitled to travel the world. And then my Aunt Carla, who was serving the snacks, adds to the story of my uncle. We explored a beautiful beach, she says. We discovered a hidden gem. And this story also seems innocent, right? But it carries a colonial undertone. Because by using words like explore, discover, or hidden gem, we implicitly say that the place is ours, that we were the first ones to find it. But of course, this is not true. This beach has its own history, and there were people living there long before we came there as tourists. And the same applies to the picture that Aunt Carla is showing to me. It is a picture of her and beach. There's no one else there. It is as if she found it herself. And there is more of our history hidden in the way we take pictures. And in order to explain that, I would like to invite you to the market in Marrakesh. Please come with me. The sun is burning, I'm sweating. The market is full of people. I smell saffron and cardamom. And I see fruit and vegetables in colors I have never seen before. And then I see her. An older woman in a beautiful red dress with those Arabian Night bells on it. Oh, it's such an authentic picture. I have to capture it. So before I notice, I grab my camera and click. I take the picture. Whoa, I've got it. It's beautiful. But I didn't ask her for her permission. And when I get home, a very uncomfortable feeling creeps in. Because how would I feel if someone would take a picture of me without asking for my permission, while I'm just doing my groceries at the market in Groningen? And I realized that the moment in Marrakesh I was taking that picture, I was only thinking about myself. The woman, She was just an exotic prop in my holiday snapshot. The next item on my bucket list. Travelers unconsciously repeat patterns of inequality, even in something as simple as taking a holiday picture. Let me break that down for you. My Dutch passport is the fourth most powerful passport in this world, according to Henley's Passport Index. I can travel almost anywhere I want. I can own a camera, I can buy a ticket. But many people in this world can't. And this fact in itself already shows that I hold power over other people and places. Because I get to decide where and when I take a picture. I get to decide what should be in it. But wouldn't it be better to discuss with the inhabitants of a destination about what they feel, that their desired narrative is that they would like to see in the pictures? And this is important because most of the pictures that are taken in travel and tourism are taken around the perspective of the traveler. I mean, yeah, we love to take pictures of beaches and churches and other important landmarks. But this is a very simplified representation of a country. It is perpetuating stereotypes of the unspoiled exotic place. Because there's much more to a destination than just the tourism highlights. But because we would like to keep our desired tourism narrative, we leave out the elements that don't fit, such as a dark history, poverty, or pollution. And who benefits from those pictures after they have been taken? Will you share them with the people involved? And who benefits when the picture is used for commercial purposes? The person who took the picture, or also the people whose landscape is in it? My time in Zanzibar, the trip to Morocco, and even the birthday party of Uncle René. It taught me important lessons to take home. If we want tourism to be a space for deep human connection, we have to take the journey within, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because only then we can move from consumption to connection and create encounters that enrich both hosts and guests. So I wonder, who of you is gonna travel to a warm destination in the coming month? Can you please raise your hand, if you will? No one there yet. And who of you will travel, can be for work or leisure, in the coming 3 months? Yes, I see some more hands, yes. And maybe people who will travel in the next 6 to 12 months? Yeah, great. So when you board your plane and you sit down in your airplane chair, I want to invite you to pause, to close your eyes, and to take a deep breath. and ask yourself these 3 questions. Is this trip only gonna be about my needs? Or can I also open myself to the perspective of the people who actually live at the destination, to people like Jerry, my student, to their lives and their histories? And am I prepared to notice the stories that I still carry inside me? Stories that I inherited from my ancestors. Stories about place, about other people, and my position in this world. And then the last question, the most important question. Will I repeat the stories that I inherited? The stories about race, power, and the other? Or will I be the cycle breaker and interrupt them from today on? Let's change those stories that we carry in our backpack and change the way we meet each other. Like Jerry would often say to me in his mother tongue, Kiswahili, tupo pamoja, so that we can be together.
Thank you so much, Maaike, for all these insights. It's really amazing when you think about it. It's unconsciously that you do that with the best intentions, of
Exactly. With the best intentions.
Yeah,
It's important we become aware
realize.
of this.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Maaike? Any comments, thoughts, confessions? No.
Confessions.
Yeah, I felt like confessing, like, I've been there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've been there myself.
Yeah, that's good that you start with that, then it feels less shameful.
Yeah.
Admit that indeed we're all kind of. I have one last question before I kick you off the stage.
Yes.
You walked through the public with this this morning.
Yes, and that was very funny indeed, because I got a lot of comments from people in the train and on the street. Ma'am, where are you going with this holiday chair? And then I told them, yes, I'm going to the travel trade fair, but it's a nice contrast.
It's amazing. And it's a great prop, and I really loved your story. It was really very interactive in that sense. Thank you so much. One warm applause, please, for Maaike Bergsma.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your attention. At 1 o'clock, we'll continue here with a story by Isabel Mosk about consumers and their way of acting. It will be in Dutch. Afterwards, we'll have a talk with Claire Jones from Polar Steps. And at the end of the day, we'll have Daisy Scholte about the real price of flying. So 3 more lectures, all by women. The first in Dutch, the other 2 in English from 1 o'clock on. Thank you.